Hi everybody, again another podcast from Central British Columbia. Today we are in Prince George, beautiful downtown Prince George, and we have a very special guest today. Our guest today is Tara Weber. She is an amazing individual, a power lifter nonetheless, and one of world class. She won the World Powerlifting Championships in 2019, which made her the strongest woman in the world. Tara, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
So, powerlifting, what is it again? Is it when you put them on top of what is it?
It's the squat, the bench press, and the deadlift, and
Okay.
then your combined total for all three.
Okay. And so when you won in 2019, that was in Chicago?
That was Chicago.
And so a lot of people involved, obviously, in the championship.
Yeah, that was a big one. That one was broadcast on ESPN, actually. So.
Wow. And so have you competed? Is that the first time you competed in the World Championship?
That was the second year that they had brought it's the World Powerlifting Organization, Super Finals is what they called it. And that was the second year that they had run it. The first year they were just trying to get people kind of back into it because about a decade ago it was the biggest multiply powerlifting meet.
Okay.
Multiply, just that refers to the suits that we wear, so they can be any number of layers thick.
Right.
And that had kind of fallen by the wayside, for about the last decade, and they hadn't been running that meet for that time.
Okay.
So 2018 was the first year they brought it back, and they just tried to get as many people into it as they could. 2019, they made it where you had to hit certain qualifying totals to be able to compete.
Okay.
And because it was on ESPN, it had to be like a certain length of time. So everything was, you had 15 people competing, and
right.
it was run very quickly and had to be everything proper.
But you had to be in very good shape, and obviously you trained for it very heavily, and when you went to Chicago to compete.
That's right. I'm sure that there was people there that were stronger than me, but because I had trained and was in better shape, like you said, I was able to come out with the win because a lot of people weren't prepared to have to. You only had maybe 15 minutes between your lifts, and a lot of the time you'll have more like a half an hour, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So a lot of people weren't prepared for that, but we had set up my training so that I was.
So, and then the next year, 2020, were you competing then, or was that COVID?
I was lucky enough to be able to compete then. The last couple meets, 2020 in March, we got back the day that they kind of started to shut everything down. We got back from the competition.
You were lucky.
Yeah, it was at the Arnold in
Ohio.
Yeah, in Ohio, and they had actually shut down the whole event. They allowed the sporting events to continue so that the competitors could still, do their thing, and but all the vendors just had to pack up and go home.
Wow.
It was pretty crazy. And then we got home just as they started to implement the quarantine.
Right.
And then the next one, the next finals, I was able, things had started to open back up again.
Yeah.
And we were able to make it to that one just before they kind of shut things down again. So I've been really lucky with timing that I've been able to make all the competitions.
Now the next one is August the 18th in Florida.
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, and so and that is again at the World Championship level.
Yeah, it's the finals. They did cancel the the semifinals this year.
Yeah.
Where there would be 30 people and then pare it down to 15.
Yeah.
so they're just going to have all 30 women, all 30 men compete at the finals this year.
Yeah, and again, that is where in Florida?
Fort Lauderdale.
Florida. And do they still have it? But I remember is that, I was qualified once for bodybuilding and the nationals as well as the Arnolds. And the Arnolds, one what I remember of it, I unfortunately we couldn't go for some reason or another. Forget now what it was, but was in 2018 or so. And the Arnolds is that all those different sports are there in one big group that are all going on in different locations. All of the you had to really qualify for it to even be able to compete.
Yeah, that's always a big event. Powerlifting, like it's been there. I think it's been there like the entire, like since it's been going on. And we've gone to that. We've gone to that a number of times. I think 2 or maybe 3 times we've gone to compete there, and yeah, like it's a big show, and it's really
crazy. All the people there is, Now the other thing, since we are in August now and the Olympics are on, is it part of the Olympics as well, powerlifting, as a sport?
No, the Olympics, they have it at, like, the highest level, I guess, would be the Pan Am Games.
Okay.
But no, it's not an Olympic sport. They're trying to get it into the Olympics, but like part of it is it's being 3 events. It takes a long time.
Okay.
So that's one of the things holding it back.
Yeah.
So
now, the interesting part about you are that you are an athlete at world level, and we are here in Prince George, British Columbia, so 800 kilometers, I should say, north of Vancouver. And to see amazing athletes like yourself here in Prince George. And we met numerous of them already in different categories, and again, you're very unique, obviously, and most of your training, we had also the opportunity to work with you and your husband Mike on the annual events where you're involved in a training facility. They call it Xconditioning. Tell us a little bit about that.
Xconditioning, it's like we I guess kind of specialize in like athletic training for all different kinds of sports, but also like we're a place where just the general public can come and kind of get a taste of different stuff you might not be able to do at like a public gym.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got we've got our little niche, like it's kind of specialty stuff that we make available to the general public.
Yeah, I found it amazing because I got to know you and Mike already quite a number of years ago, and we as a company actually we sponsored some of the championships that you did, regional and even the Canadian championships, I believe 2 or 3 years ago.
Yes.
And here in Prince George, and I had never. You're on 2nd Avenue in Prince George, just for the people in the region. And in order to fully appreciate it, you have to go in and look around. Very friendly place, but amazing how dedicated the people are that are training there, and how helpful they are all around you. Very friendly environment, but a very serious one. So because a lot of people that are involved in this, it's part of their lifestyle, and and fitness, but also to excel in all the things they want to do.
Yeah, like unfortunately, a lot of people are kind of intimidated to come down, but for the most part, like once they've walked in the door, and then like you said, like it's very friendly, and our members all know each other, so they're all talking, like there's not a lot of people that just wear their headphones and do their workout, like
right.
Everyone's just kind of talking to each other and helping each other and, critiquing each other. And like it's, it's a very unique place in that respect.
Very inviting, right? So
yeah.
So I think it's very important, Jared, that you bring that up, because I remember for myself, that when I first went to the gym and started training, actually at quite an old age already. I'm 81, so this nearly 81. So I started training in earnest when I was about 68 or so. And before, I used to buy memberships, and then I would go there a couple of times, not to a gym here in town, and then after that we didn't go anymore.
Yeah.
And then when I was 68, I made a commitment to go there. But initially, the training facilities or can be an intimidating environment. And I always felt, I look around and see all those perfect bodies there, and these guys are walking around like that, and then I try out a piece of equipment, I don't even know how to sit on it, it was kind of, and not a good place to go to unless you kind of felt invited. And so then I learned, just like you said, that most of the people are very helpful, and it should not discourage anybody from going in. And the same as you say about Xconditioning, it's everybody is welcome, and people should take a look and see what is being done, and what level do you want to participate. So, and then your husband's name is Mike.
Yes.
And Mike Weber, and he's quite an artist, quite deep into training and the facility as well.
Yes.
When did you guys start all of this?
Well, Xconditioning started in 2005, training just like hockey players in summertime,
right?
Like off-ice type training.
Right.
And then 2008, they got the building where it is now, down on 2nd Ave. And then it was 2010 when they opened to the public and not just training teams and that sort of thing.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, that's like, that's really what keeps us going, is the public, and, just getting new people all the time. And, so many people are just kind of, they don't know, they haven't heard of us, or they don't know where we are, because we're not in a easy to see location.
No.
So you kind of have to search us out a little bit, but yeah, like once you get there, then people tend to love it.
Well, once you walk inside, it's big, much
Mm-hmm.
bigger than I thought it would be. Looking from the outside, it's 500 block 505, I believe, on 2nd Avenue.
That's right.
Just about a stone throw away from here.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes. So, what kind of motivated you to go into this, and when? How old were you when you started?
Oh, like I've always loved the gym. I've always loved training. Like when I was a kid competing in freestyle skiing, like I always liked to be able to do more push-ups than the guys, or
right,
and that sort of thing. And then it was when I was a teenager, I always just envisioned that I would somehow own a gym, or be part owner of a gym, even if I had another job.
Yeah.
And then opportunity just kind of opened up for me to start working full time doing what I love.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've always had a passion for training and weightlifting. Like I guess I was built for it. And
born to be, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, are you from Prince George originally? Were you born here in Prince George?
I'm adopted. I was born in New Westminster, but I've lived in Prince George my whole life.
Yeah, and then already from your young age forward, you started going in the gym. So what I'm always wondering is that powerlifting. So when I look at it, it is very technical sport, and you know you know, what attracted you to powerlifting more so than any of the other things that you could have been doing?
Like I said, I've always liked lifting weights, and I didn't really know about powerlifting. It was my boss when I worked at the Y. I wanted to get better at Olympic lifting, actually.
Yeah.
And she put me in contact with the guys down at Xconditioning. And, you know, I did a session of Olympic weightlifting, and that's where you, like, you know, get off the floor, up to the shoulders, overhead.
Yeah.
You know, I went and did a session because I wanted to, you know, be able to do CrossFit better, actually.
Right.
That was getting popular back in 2010. And then, you know, the guys kind of watched me training and said, hey, like, you're pretty strong. Why don't you just, you know, we're going to a powerlifting meet, you know, in a couple months. Just, you know, train for a bit and, you know, come and see if you like it. And since then, I've been hooked.
Yeah, so you know, I'd always wonder, you know, how do you go from your level to a world-class level? The commitment in terms of training is very important, critically important. Your mindset is very important. And then I'm just throwing these elements out because I like to be in the gym and do things. Nutrition, extremely important. All of that you had to kind of, you know, work on all the time. And I presume that, you know, you got another 2 weeks from now or so, you have to be in Florida. And, you know, so you already are in a competition mode, likely in regards to your diet and all those kind of things and training. So tell us a little bit about how you prepare yourself for another world-class level competition that you're going to in 2 weeks.
Like one thing about like especially about like Mike is he kind of takes care of, like, you know, everything, like the numbers and stuff, you know, that I should be hitting at the competition. So, you know, some of those things are I don't have to worry about them, and I just have to focus on competing. But like leading into the meet, you know, we've always taken training and like meet preparation seriously, and I guess that's what got me, you know, to the level that I'm at. Like when we'd go to lower level competitions and stuff, like, you know, in Alberta and stuff like that, you know, we kind of see people, they're basically just winging it.
Yeah.
Whereas we try and control everything that we can control at a competition.
It's a bit of a science, isn't it?
Oh, it is for sure. Like,
yeah.
You know, you'll see people, they get there and they weigh in, and then, you know, they go and they, you know, eat at IHOP all day, and you know, like, whereas we try and keep everything the same as it would be in training, because,
yeah.
you know, we're always hitting PRs in training. So in order to hit PRs at the meet, you just got to keep things consistent, and we've gotten really, really good at like competing that way and making sure that everything is consistent. Like, as far as the first thing that we do when we arrive for a competition, you know, in the town where we're going, is we go grocery shopping. We buy a skillet to cook our food in, so that we can keep everything the same, because, you know, it's hard to compete your best when you're going and you're eating, you know, meals out, you know, and you're in a new environment, so you have to deal with that anyway. But like I said, we make sure that we control everything that we can control.
Yeah, and again, that is very, very important. Hence, you're in a very unique situation because your husband is your trainer, and he again is in the same field as you are. You're very lucky, because that's kind of not a very common situation where you're both so committed to, you know, to becoming top athletes in the field, right?
No, that's right. Like I'm very lucky because I normally I would have to tell someone what I need, but he knows exactly what I need because he's there for all my training. Like he knows what I eat at home, like all that stuff, kind of in the background that you wouldn't really think about so much. He's there to take care of everything like that.
Yeah, to get to the top, that's what you have to do to be able to compete, I presume, at those levels, and to have a chance of being competitive and potentially win. There are no shortcuts, and so how does that, just for our guests that are watching this show, is saying that they have ambitions of feeling that that'd be interesting if it is powerlifting or something else in terms of bodybuilding or whatever they want to excel as a sport, that you have to make the commitment to get to those kind of levels. And
you do have to be committed, and like you were saying, like nutrition is a major part, sleep is a major part, and just kind of being able to put all those things together on a consistent basis is what really will get you to the top.
So diet, and a lot of people, at least in bodybuilding in those areas, and probably the same as powerlifting and some of the other things, is a large part of training. So like in your case, where you are just in your pre-competition mode of a very major competition, how long before that do you start? I already assume that during the normal time that you're not directly getting ready for competition, you're already very careful with your diet. And then once you go towards pre-competition, give us an idea what you do in terms of food and other things that you do, because a lot of people, there is so much confusion about diet in a general sense, and especially as it applies to athletes, may they be runners, may they be whatever, to eat healthy and to have a diet that fits for what you want to accomplish.
Yeah, like I am a little different than most powerlifters. Like I don't really have an off-season diet and then like an in-season diet or anything like that. I just try to stay consistent the whole way through. Part of that is because of the gear we wear. Like if it'll fit different if you're kind of changing body weight and stuff like that.
Right.
So for that reason, I just maintain like my body weight consistently. A lot of athletes will do weight cuts for the competition, but I just find that I'm better just staying a consistent weight all the way through. And like as far as what I eat, it's basically just a mix of food that I cook every few days. Like it's a lot of rice, potatoes, and just meat that like nothing really from a package. But I just make everything myself. Like
vegetables.
Yep. Like certain vegetables I eat all the time, and then other ones, I mix it up a bit. But always, carrots, cranberry juice. Like it's very kind of regimented, I guess. But
now, in your case, does your husband do the same then? Eat the same, or does he eat different food?
We eat pretty similar.
That makes a difference too.
Oh, it does for sure. Like I don't really struggle that much to just kind of eat the same thing and really stick to like a plan, I guess. But like I one thing that I do allow myself to do is I have like a cheat afternoon. Every Saturday afternoon I eat whatever I want.
Yeah.
But the rest of the week,
Yeah.
I find as long as I have, that once a week thing, that the rest of the week I
This
can...
is something to look forward to, right?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. And then, so the other thing that I found when I was competing in bodybuilding is I had my food pre-made. I didn't like it much. That's not really necessary, right? So in terms of, you can still eat healthy and have it taste good.
Mm-hmm.
The not tasting so good doesn't go together with healthy necessarily. You can kind of, I don't know, I'm just kind of, usually try to even now, try to eat healthy, so, but a lot of times what, that I found initially is when I didn't do my own, and I had some people do it, or I would buy it, sometimes I didn't like it all that much, but then as I got used to it more, I got to know how to kind of mix it so that it tasted good as well.
That's right, for sure. Like, and a big thing for me is just if it's ready to go and it's there, then for convenience, I'll eat that versus some other kind of unhealthy choice I might be drawn to. But there's lots of, I've definitely got my favorite things, and how I cook them. Like, people are always coming in the gym and they're like, "Oh, your food smells so good," and it's actually pretty easy. It's just but just being being consistent and being planning it and having it ready to go, I find is important.
So now the other things that I sometimes think about, especially somebody at a world-class level like you are, there must be some things that you like to do and say, what I really like to do is, you live in Prince George, Central British Columbia, in British Columbia, for our international viewers, it's probably the most beautiful place in the world, and at least in my opinion. And then northern BC, in particular the Prince George area, we got a couple of thousand lakes within 50 miles around us, probably, or closer, and the beautiful outdoors. What do you like to do other than doing a lot of training in your off time, or when you guys say, well, let's go to where? You go.
Oh, well, like, we're lucky enough that we live on West Lake.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so we're right on the lake. So, we go down to our dock almost, every single day and get to just kind of relax down there. But one of my favorite things to do, like, around Prince George, is we take our dogs out to the trails at Otway.
Yeah.
We go biking out there, and it's, I can't think of anywhere else where you can do the number of things you can around Prince George, and you don't have to go very far, and it's not very busy. Like, you're never really struggling to, you're not stuck in traffic, you're not, waiting. And
it's such an amazing place to live, really, Prince George. And relatively speaking, I came here in 1965. It was a boom town then, and with lots of the whole town was busy. There were companies coming in, lumber companies building, and jobs were anywhere. You walked halfway down the street and somebody would hire you, and then usually the questions were, if somebody talked to you, when did you get here and when are you leaving? That has totally changed. Prince George now is an amazing city of about 80,000 people, take a plus or minus. Amazing nature all around us, where we see deer, we see moose, we see bears. I saw a black bear actually yesterday afternoon on just a little bit out of downtown Prince George. It's such an amazing place to live in terms of nature.
Oh yeah, like, we just had a black bear in our yard eating our Saskatoon berries.
Yeah.
So
So amazing, right? So the other thing then, Tiara, I always kind of wonder about is that if you, with individuals like you, you're an inspiration to a lot of people, and hence that's why I invited you to this podcast because you're inspiring to others, and if you kind of looked at yourself and say, it took a lot, and it still does, as you strive for excellence and going to Florida and competing. What do you believe is your strongest side that makes you get up in the morning, be committed to, again go into training and give it all you got and then some? What motivates you?
Oh, that's a really good question. I've just always enjoyed competing in anything. Like from the time I was a kid, like whether it was a foot race or, winning at the multiplication tables in math class, I guess, I just always like to just kind of see where I'm at compared to everybody else.
You see, I look at somebody like you, like saying that person has commitment in terms of, you want to become the best at what you do, and you're gonna give it all that it takes and all the things that you have to do to succeed, and then you have, as many others have, that sometimes the days that you don't quite feel as strong about it, but then you push yourself and say, no, that's it, and I have this commitment. Next 2 weeks you'll be in Florida, and you're ready to compete, and I believe with your attitude that you will do very well, and and succeed in the things that you want to accomplish.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this competition. It'll be another title defense, and I'm nervous for it, but I've done it a couple times now, and I don't get as nervous for big competitions now because I just kind of am able to recognize that, I get nervous, but I still do okay.
But that's normal, though. You have to be somewhat nervous, because that's what makes you excel, right?
Yes, for sure.
So if some of the young people that are watching us, the male, female, whatever, and they kind of have ambitions to go into, in particular, sports, and sometimes what we hear people say, and young people maybe say, and and I always say, you can be anything you want to be. There is nothing that you cannot achieve once you put your mind to it. And where some people say, well, I can never do that, and I would not be able to get the training here that I need, or whatever other reason is that I can not do what these people have achieved. What do you say to them?
Oh, just, I do hear that all the time, where people are, they think that before they start, they need to get to a certain level. And all you have to do is start. Just get yourself going, and, everything else will, fall into place. If it's something that you really want to do, you'll make it happen. You'll make time for it if you really enjoy it. Yeah. And we see that all the time with our members. They start with a punch card because they're not sure what kind of commitment they can make. And then after a while, it almost becomes a compulsion. They're there, every day because
exactly.
Because you get to know other people that are doing it, and then maybe you don't feel like going one day, but that, well, I don't want to let my friend, be there by themselves, or
right,
whatever it is. We have that kind of commitment with our training. We couldn't do it without the group training.
Exactly.
So, you know, then you develop a commitment to each other, and that really, you know, keeps you going.
Yeah, I found that too when I was in the gym. I trained at Gold's here for about 10 years, and I was totally out of shape. And oh my God, when I went down there, and I was so self-conscious about it, I thought everybody was watching me and say, "What is he doing here?" But that's not so,
No.
as we were saying earlier. And so then, as I stayed there, and I kind of got a little bit more into it, and on more into it, I had a trainer as well. And so then. And then, it started the routine. I used to go always the same time, and I get there, get ready, and then somebody, and I was the last one that I kind of thought that I ever would compete, in something. And somebody said to me, "You're looking pretty good." And I thought, "Oh, do I?" And then, and started to kind of saying, "Well, why have you ever thought about competing?" I said, "No." And then the next thing, I started to kind of train a bit more with my trainer, and then kind of flexing a little bit and saying, "Oh my God, yeah, maybe." And then once other people notice or say something, and then all of a sudden you kind of look and say, "Yeah, I look okay." And then the next thing is that then you build the self-confidence that, that not necessarily of rising to the levels that you were, but at least looking good, feeling good. That's what it is all about, right? And then, and it was a big part of my life. And then obviously COVID kind of got in the way of things. So I'm hoping to go back to the gym in the next couple of weeks. And then, even then still, I believe that, I want to compete again. And then, I was the oldest competitive bodybuilder in the province, so, and I want to do that again, so, and there is nothing that can stop somebody from trying to do that. The things that are always important to me. In my office, I got a sign hanging there that my employees gave to me. It says, "Attitude, passion, work ethic equals success." And that's always kind of what I go by. I try to have a positive attitude. I avoid negative. I don't want to be involved in it. To me, the glass is half full. And then in terms of passion, all the things that I do, I want to give it 100% no matter what it is. And then, work ethic, in my case, what I do is I always make my bed in the morning. I usually get up around 5:30, and then I was in the Air Force for 2 years in the draft in Holland. And so before I leave, I always make my bed, and then before I walk out of the door, I take a look back and see if everything is okay. And I'm always late in my mind, at least. And so it's so important, what I try to say, people, avoid the negative, find your passion, whatever that may be, and then the work ethic, make the commitment.
Yes.
And what follows is success, so.
Yeah, like I've had this conversation a lot of times. Like, people always kind of, they ask if I ever experience like negativity being a woman in a strength sport. And, really, I don't really, because I guess I surround myself with people that have the same kind of passion and work ethic as I do. So those people that maybe think negative things or want to say negative things, like, they're not really around me. Like, we just had a member start coming probably a few months ago, and she was talking to me one day, and she was really dreading, going to this lunch with some of her friends. And we got talking about it, and she said, I know that they're just, they're looking at me and they're judging what I'm ordering when we're out for lunch. And, she didn't really want to go. And then, I said, don't worry about it. Like, you are not meant to be like a skinny little runner lady. like that is not that's not who you are, and trying to like change yourself, it's just a lot of negativity.
Not good.
Yeah, and she came back to me the next day and she said, like I just need to find more people, like
That are
all the
positive.
people that are at the gym, like everyone at the gym, she said, has been nothing but encouraging to her, and said, oh, you can lift more, you're strong already, like we focus on her
Positive,
strength,
right?
and so hearing that kind of stuff really makes
So important. Because we are all vulnerable in a way, right? And saying, what will they say? What will they think? A lot of times what I say is that, and I've gone through that too, so that I was younger and at some periods I was not happy with myself, and then I didn't think I was, doing a very good job of whatever I was doing. Even when I was building a mill already, everybody said, oh, you're so successful. I didn't think so. I thought it was a bit of a failure because it should have been much different than I thought it would be. So the other part that I always find important and try to share with young people in particular, but anybody else as well, is that I always believe that credibility is indefensible, because your friends will know and your enemies you cannot convince. So I said, don't waste my time with I'm not justifying the credibility or discuss the issue of credibility. My friends know, my enemies I cannot convince. So why waste your time?
That's right. Yeah.
And then the other part that I always believe is important with somebody like yourself that has such an amazing background of that brought you into the sport and the commitment that you made together, with your friends, and then obviously with your husband, Mike, and Xconditioning, and the atmosphere. Every time I come in there, I can feel it, and I see the dogs as well. They are always there.
Yeah.
But the positive attitude is so important, and that the idea of this podcast, in a lot of ways, to me, is to talk to those people, including you, that are so exceptional in what they do, and to showcase them to other people in Prince George, saying that this is what we have for talent in Prince George. We have had Olympians and so people that have really succeeded in their areas, and I think it's so important to share that. And and for somebody like yourself, and I don't know if you ever did that, but it would be good to talk to classes or younger students that are kind of searching for where do they go from here, to kind of meet you and hear your story and your success that follows. So important for them in terms of what is possible. I believe.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to talk to one group of students just this past school year. Just about being just being a successful like female entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really neat to be able to see all these young people and hopefully help inspire someone, or help guide them, or whatever, like you say.
Yeah, because that is an inspiration for many, and just to see somebody that has succeeded in entrepreneurship and then brought it all the way to the top level in her or his sport is unique. And especially if you look at a region like this, saying I had no idea that we have a world level class athletes like yourself, that not only has been successful as an entrepreneur, but also in terms of rising to the top in her sport. So that is very important.
Yeah, we've heard that before. Like people, people from Vancouver and stuff, and they figure that, well, no one way up north can be that good of a, can be that good. They don't have access to training or, whatever it is they think. But, even some of my coaches when I was freestyle skiing made it to the Olympics. So
Exactly.
there's nothing stopping athletes in Prince George from being on the biggest stage there is.
Exactly. But as soon as you tell me these kind of things, what I'm kind of thinking about, hey, write a book. Tell your story. As I did in mine, and I know I given one to you, and didn't I?
Yep.
Yes,
I just finished it last week, actually.
Oh, good. So, tell the story. Wherever the opportunity presents itself, and obviously here is one, and then the other one is that if you come back from Florida, then we want to stay in touch with you, and but inspiring the younger people in particular, that your story is so unique, and wherever it presents itself, a lot of times is that people don't really know about you, and as much as they should. Obviously, we want to do that through the podcast, and the other one is to in terms of talking to younger people in schools once the school starts again and COVID hopefully is under control somewhat, then to kind of share that with some of the people, telling them that you are available to talk to people like that. A lot of times what I found about entrepreneurship or about some of the other things that you've done and that are so unique, there's a lot of people that are very, very interested in that.
Yeah, just getting the word out there is the biggest thing, and that's something that we've kind of struggled with at the gym. Like, so many people just still haven't really heard of us. But word of mouth is that's kind of been our best thing. But now social media has exploded so much over the last few years that
and podcasting as well, so we will make sure this will be all over social media. We will say the door is open, is 2nd Avenue, 505. You must go out and take a look. Do people have to make an appointment to come down, or can they?
No, they can just come right down. We had restrictions on class sizes and stuff that, but people can just come down. You don't need an appointment. You can just walk in.
And don't feel embarrassed that you don't look good enough, or that you, in terms of size, or that you not right away strong enough, or you don't know how to lift up don't worry about any of that, because everybody is supportive.
That's right. Like we work with total beginners, and we've worked with athletes training for their season in the NHL, so we can kind of do
the whole spectrum,
all levels.
And very, very friendly inside. So the other thing that we do is that on a monthly basis, you maybe have seen it, we choose an athlete of the month. And so we have had all kinds from and we give them, usually help them, we give them a check for $500 to help them in the thing. And in August, we have an athlete of the month. And then, so our selection committee, when they heard about different names, spent not much time about, and they selected you in September.
Oh, thank you very much.
So you will be our athlete of the month in September.
That's great. Very happy.
And then we'll do another one officially with a check and all that kind of stuff. Probably by the time you get back from Florida. And then, then again, that is all over social media as well. And you're extremely deserving.
Thank you very much. It sounds great.
And it was my privilege to do this interview, and I wish you well in Florida. And stay in touch with us, let us know, so we can publish it on social media as to if it is being video recorded, or if it is available on social media, so we can watch you perform. Let us know if that is the case, and we will keep the people on our social media informed about your progress. And then after you're back, we'll get together again, and wish you all the best.
Sounds
Thank
great.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.